MacVoices is supported by Text Expander by Smile. Find out just how powerful a few keystrokes can be at textexpander.com. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. This is part 2 in our 2-part interview with Kyle Foster of Synology, talking about the newest editions of their DiskStation network-attached storage devices, as well as the overall capabilities of their DiskStations, what they can do for you, both for your home and for your business. So we'll get back to it with Kyle.
It's not a backup. One drive is not really a backup. Yeah, that's another advantage to NAS too. Is I think we touched on this when we talked in Vegas as well. Is that more of your important stuff is on the internet. Is a little bunch of ones and zeros in a computer somewhere. You don't have stacks of important paperwork really anymore, or you don't keep all of your family photos in a fireproof safe under the bed anymore. It's all digital. And so you want to have that complete backup system in place. You want to have the original copies. Say it's family photos, you have the original copies on your phone. You want the secondary copies, which live on your NAS. We have it's called Moments. It's just an app. You put it on your phone, you put it on the NAS, automatically syncs the photos in between, making sure that it's all backed up onto the NAS. And then you take the photos on the NAS and you back them off to the cloud. You back them off to a NAS at your friend's house. You can even put them on an external hard drive there and take it to your office or something. That way, say you lose your phone, your house catches on fire, you live the life of a bad country song and all your photos go away, you still have that offsite copy somewhere. And that's really going to be more important as more and more stuff continues to get transitioned to digital. You're going to want to make sure you have that stuff safe and secure somewhere. So yeah, one backup copy is not a backup.
Well, and to your point, you just said that one of your lockdown projects was to digitize all your DVDs. And while you could do that again, I mean, it's still a big project. So you want to try to have those materials backed up as much as possible, and then use the physical DVDs as like the ultimate last ditch, as you said, bad country song kind of backup that you can restore from. So
exactly, okay.
Yeah. And the other thing I love to point out to people, and they don't really think about it, our phones keep getting better. The cameras in our phones keep getting better. That means the files keep getting larger. And the difference between the pictures you were taking on a 2001, 2002 flip phone and what you're getting out of an iPhone now, there's a reason they look so much better. It's because it's gathering so much data, and that means they're bigger file sizes.
Exactly, yeah. And so things like Google Photos, things like iCloud, those are great as built-in options that come with the software. Although I believe originally most of those kind of cloud services, photo backup, wouldn't allow you to do the full raw image file. So one slight disadvantage there. But yeah, it can also be frustrating because you are limited by a data plan. You get, 50 gigabytes by default. And then if you take photos like people tend to do, it's going to take up more space on your phone, and you can either delete the photos or pay more money for one of those cloud backup plans, which might be worth it to you. But having your own copy secured in your own home vault that's not touching the internet, that's not going to somebody else's servers, that somebody won't be able to get access into and look at your photos, it's worth a good amount of peace of mind for some people. And again, it allows you to have complete control over that kind of information and those kind of things. So if your photos, your family photos, things like that are that important to you, it's important to have your own secure copies of it. There's been examples of it was a YouTuber who people commented on his live stream. For whatever reason, YouTube flagged those people as bots, kicked them out of their Google accounts, couldn't access Drive, couldn't access their photos, couldn't access backup. Fortunately, most of those people were able to get back in and get their stuff. But if something as simple as a computer error can cause you to lose, the last 10 years of your life, is that, cost value proposition? Is it worth it to have your own kind of secure file backup at home? I think so.
Yeah, I agree completely. One other thing that Synology is known for, and you may need to use a cheat sheet for this, because we've talked about Plex and the idea of having that media server for your videos and TV shows and all. But you guys provide an embarrassing number of applications that my Synology can turn into. Everything from my own private cloud to like you say, to a backup server, to I don't even know. I mean, there's so many there that your own private Dropbox. Talk a little bit about all those capabilities, if you will, and the ones that you think are the ones that are most popular for most people.
Sure, yeah. So like you said, we do offer some third-party applications, like Plex probably being one of the most popular ones. But we also offer our own in-house services for all of those. So we have a Video Station, which would basically be our own version of Plex. To be fair, Plex does offer a lot of capabilities that Video Station doesn't quite match, but at the same time, Video Station doesn't have any sort of subscription fees built in. You don't have to pay for any sort of membership pass or anything like that. It's just a self-contained free service. So we have things like that. We also have our Photo Station and our Moments, which are, again, backup for your photos. It can also store and organize your photos, makes it super easy to share, family, friends, whoever. And then one of our I think it's more popular but doesn't really get as much attention as it should, would be our Surveillance Station software. And that can run on any of our NAS units, even down to our little 1-bay J series that just came out. I think is like $160. And what that does, it allows you to set up your own private in-house surveillance system. So you run the cameras into the NAS, you set it up on the NAS, and then boom, you have your own surveillance system for your whole house. We have an app that allows you to view the real-time footage or the real-time camera feeds from anywhere you happen to be. Completely customizable. There's no subscription fees like there are with other popular cloud-based security services. You don't have to worry about those cameras. You can set it up so the cameras don't even touch the internet. You don't ever have to worry about somebody getting in, viewing, and spying on your family. There's been a couple of cases of that where people have been getting access to cloud-based security cameras, things like that. There's also been the stories of the people at these companies inappropriately viewing the footage, things like that. So it's a real peace of mind. I don't think it does you any good to have a surveillance system in your house that you aren't sure if it's spying on you too. So again, for something that can run on even our cheapest NAS units, if you are concerned about surveillance, if you have a surveillance system, if you're looking to get one, I think Surveillance Station is definitely a viable option, something you should check out. Because again, it's packed with a lot of solid features that you would expect from some of the bigger name cloud services ones, but it just gives you that peace of mind and that sense of security that those don't quite offer.
Okay. Before we leave Surveillance Station, I want to ask, I don't want to go too geeky here, but how does that work? I mean, how do I know if the system I have or the system I'm shopping for will work with Surveillance Station?
So as far as the cameras themselves go, we're compatible with over 7,000 cameras at the moment, and I think that number actually needs to be updated to more. But most IP cameras follow a very specific protocol, which is just how they transfer data from one place to the other, and so we're compatible with that protocol. So basically, it's super simple. You have your IP camera, you plug in the camera to the switch, the NAS, whatever, and then the Surveillance Station software scans for those cameras, picks them up, and then boom, you're good to go. It's really pretty easy and simple to set up, especially if you've never set up anything like that before. It can be a little daunting for some people to maybe run wires in their house. But again, if you're concerned about that extra layer of security, it's worth the investment.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, anything that's going over the air theoretically can be tapped into. So
yeah, that's my biggest holdup with the cloud-based kind of security cameras is that you basically have a camera that's plugged into the internet pointing inside of your house, and I personally am not a fan of that. Even like the webcams built into my laptop, I have the little slider in there just because you never really know anymore, and you can't be too careful anymore.
Yeah, there's the one thing that they can't defeat short of coming into your house and sliding that little slider back over is they can't get past the analog blocks.
Exactly.
Yeah. One other feature I think that is really important for folks, and that is I will refer to it as the Dropbox feature. The idea that, okay, I can have my own private cloud that is on my Synology at my house. First of all, I'm not having to pay for it, but more importantly, it's at my cloud at my house. It's not sitting on a server somewhere in who knows where.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's there's actually kind of two ways you could set something like that up as well. There's our Synology Drive application, which basically acts kind of like more or less Dropbox, but with a little bit of Google Office or Google Documents built into it. So it allows you to, write your own Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, whatever, right there into the software. But it can also, you can download the web or the PC client and then have a synced folder between your PC and your NAS too. So if you're working on documents from one PC, it'll sync right back up to your NAS. But then there's also a way where if you're sharing documents, you can just go directly into the file structure of your NAS, right-click on it, and then it will give you an option to share. And then with that, you can either do a link. It'll generate a link for you. You can have retention, or not a retention policy, but an expiration policy on that link. So say, you're a photographer, you're sending the pre-approval wedding photos to your client, but you only want to give them 2 days to look at it so they can't download them and steal them from you. Then you can just set that to expire with 2 days, give them a password, and then if they don't have it after that 2 days, they have to come back to you to get it. Or you can also have like a QR code generated. And then with the Synology Drive application, again, very similar process. You right-click on whatever documents you want to share. It generates a little link for you. Again, you can set up expiration policies. You can set up password requirements, that sort of thing, and then send it to whoever needs to send it. It's great because it's really easy to, one, share things, and then two, securely share things. And like you said, if you're working on a project, or if you're working on maybe some sort of finances or something like that, and you have to send that offsite for whatever reason, it's definitely a good peace of mind to know that that all lives there. You have the admin portal where you can look and see if somebody actually clicked on it. You know who's clicking on it. You can see the inbound connections. Just that little extra peace of mind.
MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software like Text Expander. Whether you are a team leader or a team member, odds are that you are, have been, and will be working from a remote location for some time to come. That makes consistency of communication with each other and with your customers more important than ever, but also more difficult than ever. Enter Text Expander. Text Expander from Smile not only saves time and money by automating words, sentences, paragraphs, or pages so that they can be summoned with just a few characters, it also introduces accuracy and consistency. Each time that snippet is used, it is exactly as created the first time. No individual variations, no typos because you got tired of typing the same thing over and over. That means that once deployed to your team, no matter where they are, no matter how often they use it, they will be using that snippet to respond to customer inquiries and creating documents with exactly what you intended, saving them time and making you look great. Invest a few seconds, literally a few seconds, in creating a Text Expander snippet and get paid back every single time you use it. And that can mount up to a lot of payments, since you will be using Text Expander multiple times an hour. Find out just how easy it can be to be more accurate and more productive by visiting smilesoftware.com/podcast right now. Try Text Expander for yourself and see some of the ways that a wide variety of businesses use Text Expander to be better. That's smilesoftware.com/podcast to see what Smile, the makers of world-class software, have to offer you and your business. Thanks to Smile for their ongoing support of MacVoices.
Do you support disk stations as a web server?
I know people do it. I've never personally run it. We do have, I believe there's an application on the package center that allow you to set one of those up. But I don't believe it's too common. It's probably to do with the fact that, there's plenty of websites and cloud-based services where you can just go and set up your own website that way. But yeah, I don't believe that's too popular of a use case, but I know people do it. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have enough info on that to know how good it acts.
No, I ask just because it seems like the Synology disk station does so much, sort of as a built-in package. But at the end of the day, these are hard drives, and this is a drive on your network. So it's not just like you have to use it just with the Synology applications we're talking about. And again, I referenced Plex. Plex is not a Synology application, but it runs just fine on there.
Absolutely, yeah. And we also have built-in support for things like Docker. So there's millions of Docker containers out there that allow you to set up, anything from comic book streaming server to some kind of nerdy thing that I don't even fully understand. The Docker is an infinitely useful application, especially for people who are really into this kind of technology, building their own applications, testing their own things like that. And then we also have a VM manager as well. So if you do need to run some lighter VMs on your NAS, or if you want a dedicated VM NAS, you have the option to set that up as well. What we're really good at in terms of when it comes to VM is VM backup. Our Active Backup for Business package also provides backup services for other virtual machines and things like that. And a really useful feature with that, if you are, say you're a small business, you are running a virtual machine for your HR system or something like that, and that's something that needs to be on all the time. You need to have access to that. If you have it backed up to your Synology NAS, say that VM goes down, the power supply dies, something like that, you can basically restore the virtual machine onto the NAS. It only takes a few minutes to fail over, and then boom, you're back up and running like nothing happened while you work on getting the actual virtual machine server or whatever piece of hardware it is fixed. So that's a really cool application. But yeah, as like you said, we could spend all day talking about. We could go down the list of the packages available in the package store. There's just a lot out there. And again, like I said, just like with our units, with our software, it's infinitely customizable. If there's a need that you have, there's a chance that we have an application or some sort of workaround to help make your NAS work better for you. Especially some of the new Plus series, if you're small business owner, you're transitioning to a work from home environment, something like that, having something like a NAS is going to be very valuable to you because it's going to allow your employees to directly connect to the server in your home. It's going to allow you to connect to that server in your home. It's going to allow you to remote work on documents. It's going to allow you to make sure that everything's still being backed up properly or synced properly between the teams with that extra layer of security. And it's for businesses, I think, bottom line's pretty much everything. So the advantage to a bot solution like a NAS is a one-time cost. That's it, you're done. Whereas these subscription providers, you could start off with a plan of a terabyte for a month for, what is it, $15, $20, but then next month you go over a terabyte and boom, you have to buy 5 terabytes for $50 a month. So it's for businesses, especially in times like now where things are a little unpredictable, the predictability of a one-time cost can also mean a lot.
Okay, you just mentioned the magic word, security. Because this is attached to my network. My network is inevitably attached to the internet. So how secure are my photos, my videos, my files, whatever, that are stored on the Synology?
So for that, it's really as secure as you make it. We have a bunch of best practices lists on our website, ways to enable things like two-factor authentication, which will help a lot. We have guidelines you can set. For instance, if you are a business owner and you have 10 employees and you got to set up user accounts for them, you can set up password requirements. So it has to be 6 to 12 characters with the special exclamation point and the little ampersand or something like that. So it's really as secure as you want to make it. We have a list of best practices, but that only works if you follow them. So it's again, at the end of the day, it really comes down to what you have set up, what you have in place, and if you're following the best steps. But we make those resources available. We work with lots of other YouTubers, media outlets who provide tutorials on things like how to secure your Synology NAS. But again, tons of things. Two-factor authentication, obviously a big one. Setting up strong password requirements, obviously a big one. Don't use the default admin account. That's another big one that you'd be surprised at how many people mistake that. But yeah, and then there's also, so you have the stuff built into the NAS, and then there's also all the stuff that you can do on your own network. If you have a firewall in place, if you make sure your router's up to date, make sure that the password on that is an admin password. Just little things. But again, it really all comes down to you and how secure you want to make it.
Yeah, well said. I apologize. There was one other question I wanted to ask you earlier about the hardware that we kind of skipped over, and that is I have that drive that goes dead on me, and so I'm getting the warnings, and it's time to change the drive. Is it hot swappable, or do I need to shut everything down, change it out, and then fire it back up?
So in most cases, yeah, you should be able to leave everything on, pull out the drive, plug it back in. I haven't tested this myself. I mean, obviously, if you're running a one bay, you don't have RAID anyways, so you're kind of, lost without a paddle there. But for most cases, it should be as simple as just plugging or unplugging the old one, plugging in the new one, and then waiting for the RAID to rebuild. There might be some, obviously, system impact performances while it's rebuilding the RAID. That's a pretty intensive process. So, you might suffer a little bit of performance drawback there, but the good news is that once it's done, all your stuff is back like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I ask because first of all, it's intimidating to lose a drive. And it's doubly intimidating to say, okay, I have to have faith that I'm going to shut it down, replace that drive, bring it back up, and it's all going to come back like magic. And so for some reason, it just feels better. You feel safer if it's hot swappable. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it just feels that way.
Well, for sure, yeah. If you, as long as you can still see what it's doing, it's better to see what it's doing than have to imagine worst case scenario. But yeah, we have a great support team both here and then globally. Really, we have support everywhere, and they'll be more than happy to help you out in the event that does happen. But another thing too is that we have a lot of built-in hardware or hard drive health detection software built into DSM. And this can do things like warn you about bad sectors that things might start popping up on your disk. It gives you a real-time look at your hard drive health, internal temperature, things like that. And you have the ability to run and schedule smart checks that does like a deep dive into your hard drives, making sure everything's run. So there's a lot you can do, especially if you are somebody who's really worried about a hard drive going down, or you're kind of iffy on the hard drives that you put there in the first place. There's a lot of things in there that will alert you ahead of time if there is a problem, or at least allow you to keep a better eye on your hard drives and the health of them.
Yeah, that's good to know, and that's really important because that's kind of what the NAS is doing. Is it's running my hard drives, and it's running them in modes that are not necessarily just like a single hard drive. So I want to know the health of my hard drives if I can.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. There's so much to talk about with Synology, with the disk stations, and from a software and from a hardware perspective. Anything else that the folks should definitely know before they go shopping?
Well, so I would tell anybody who's considering getting into NAS, or who, like, if this is their first time hearing about it, go to YouTube, find the YouTubers that you trust. Everybody's got a favorite tech. Well, I would assume most people that listen to your program have a favorite tech YouTuber.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, do a little bit of research, and then once you kind of have a better idea, get your head around the concept of what it is. On our website, on Synology.com, we have a NAS selector. It'll allow you to say, how many users do you think will be using it? So if, you're just at your house, 2 to 6 people maybe, what are you using it for? Are you using it for backups? Are you using it for media streaming? Are you using it to do virtual machine backups, things like that? And it'll kind of help narrow down what kind of NAS would be right for you, and allow you to do side-by-side comparisons between all the different units. So that's a very helpful tool that we have on our website. But yeah, especially part of what I do is I try to find YouTubers, photographers, people on social media, people, tech outlets around the country to really get their hands on our product and give us honest feedback, see what they think. And with that too, you can't really talk about NAS without talking about the solutions that it provides. So there too, once you are learning about what NAS is, what it does, you also learn more about what Synology brings to the table, what makes us a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to at-home NAS stuff, especially things like our software applications like we were talking about earlier, Surveillance Station, Drive, Moments, all of that.
Perfect. And in case it's not obvious, the website is?
Synology.com, Synology.
Perfect. Kyle, thanks so much for the time. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're healthy and safe. I hope you stay that way. And I do hope we get to see each other in Vegas again in 2021.
Yeah, for sure. Good to talk to you again, Chuck.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. If you are in the market for a NAS, go check out Synology at Synology.com. And if you're in the market for something a little more advanced than just raw storage, Synology is definitely a place you want to check out. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.